Good morning to all of you, dear students of class 8A and B. I hope you all will be very fine, will be healthy and happy also, and will be safe along with your other family members. And as we all know that right now we are struggling from this corona pandemic. So follow your all the precautions, follow your all the difficult circumstances in a very great manner, and we have to win it. This should be your target. Okay, this should be your target, that you have to win it, you have to clear it. And right now we are studying about the second chapter of our book, am I right? History book, second chapter. And I have started a little bit yesterday also, from trade to territory. I shared you, and a beautiful picture has been given by a student. This figure has been given by a student of class 8A. I am very much happy with him. He draw a map, and then he draw the route from which Vasco da Gama came to India, and later on the other East Indian companies also came to our country. Then we were that I think we are on this heading, that East India Company begins trade in Bengal, you know, because the 45 settlement. We have discussed that how there are total three main cities named Calcutta, Bombay, and Chennai, and these three cities were developed by British Empire, and they fortified it also. They used to create some forts, and where the arm and ammunition, where the raw material of company used to be kept at that time. Am I right? Okay, we would like to start once again from just a minute. Let me switch off my data. Okay, I kept it and I started by that way. Okay, now we are free. So where were we? We were right now on the page number 10. Page number 10, last paragraph. I am studying. The problem was that of the companies were interested in buying the same thing. Oh, yesterday we have discussed it. Good. Between the trading companies through the 17th and 18th century, they regularly sank each other's ships, blocked route. Oh, we have discussed this. They were protected through fortification also. Then yes, now we are on page number 11. Just see, we are on page number 11, and the third line of page number 11, new paragraph. This effort to fortify settlement and carry on profitable trade also led to intense conflict with local rulers. Now this effort to fortify settlement and carry on profitable trade also led a quarrel between local rulers of how. Suppose that in they used to get they provided some sort of order to these companies, that okay, you will pay such a kind of levy, or you will pay such a kind of tax to us, and after that you can make any activity, any commercial activity in our country, and sorry, and we will be having no problem at all. Okay, this effort to fortify settlement and carry on profitable trade also led to intense conflict with local rulers. But sometime what used to happen, when a local ruler used to see that this company is making a fortified fort here, then he used to oppose. Why? Because in that fortified fort, arm and ammunition along with that military army used to be also kept. So that was a danger for the local ruler, that unless on which time nobody knows that on which time that company or that trading organization will revolt against them, as they were having sufficient amount of arm and ammunition and army in their forts. Okay. So the company therefore found it difficult to separate trade from politics. Now then the company found very much difficulty to separate states, trade rules and regulation from the rules and regulation of politics. Okay, let's see how this happened. Let's see how, what kind of problem company had to face in India, and how was it able to solve it. Then East India Company begins trade in Bengal. What is the next heading? That East India Company begins trade in Bengal. Okay, the first English factory was set up on the bank of River Hooghly in 1651. Now, this is the matter of just beside you people. Only from 1 kilometer, the great river is flowing of your house. 1 to 3 kilometer far, the great river Hooghly is flowing, and you know this river was very much important in modern Indian history because it was just like the backbone of British Empire. How this river played a very important role. That is why, with the availability of water of Hooghly River, English people, I mean Britishers, established a new city on its bank named Kolkata. Okay, so the first English factory, underline this one, was set up on the bank of River Hooghly in 1651. This was the base from which the company traders known as that time factors. Underline this word. What do you mean by factors? Factors. 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 Factors were company traders. Okay, company traders. Those were called factors. Operated. Okay, I mean the company traders known at that time factors. They operated what? They operated. The base, the factory that was established in 1651 on the bank of River Hooghly. Okay, the factory had a warehouse means where goods for export was stored. Okay, warehouse means a kind of huge hall, a kind of huge, I mean what should I say, a huge place where uh, where a lot of goods are kept for the purpose of export. Okay, export means selling the good outside of the country, sending the good outside of the country. Okay, so such a kind of warehouse used to be there in factory. The factory had a warehouse where goods for export was stored, and it had offices where company officials had. Okay, and it had offices, I mean it used to have a lot of offices where company officials had. As trade expanded, the company persuaded merchant and traders to come and settle near factory. Now, as the trade and commerce explode slowly and slowly, then the company members, the company, I mean officers, also allowed the merchant and trade persons to come nearby to company and settled over there. Okay, as trade expanded, the company persuaded merchants and traders to come and settle near the settlement. 2 years later, it bribed Mughal official into giving the company jamidari rights over three villages. Underline, underline, very important line. So, in the year, okay, by 1696, by 1696, this line that I had left, by 1696, it began building a fort around the settlement. Now, have you heard the word named Fort William? Have you heard? Have you heard? Fort William, Kendriya Vidyalaya Fort William or Fort William locality. Okay, when you come go to, where should I say, from Khidirpur, you just turn towards that park, Millennium Park. If you are going to that way, then you will find that Fort William comes. Okay, you must be knowing that Fort William comes. Okay, so that area. Okay, the factory had a warehouse where goods were to stored, and it had officers for many company. Sorry, and it had offices where companies officials sat. As trade expanded, the company persuaded merchants and traders to come and settle near the factory. By 1696, it began to come and settle near settlements. Okay, by 1696, what happened? Those persons, those peasants, those tradesmen, those workers, those clerks, all these people, those tradesmen, those merchants, all they used to come and started sitting over around the company's building. 2 years later, in 1696, it began building a fort around the settlement, and that is called Fort William. And then I mean, you can see that Hooghly River just flows by the side of Fort William, isn't so? Is it? I think so. What can we see? We can see that they started making a fort over there. That is today it is called Fort William, and this Fort William was designed and maintained, or was constructed by Britishers in India in the year 1696. In the year 1696, by 1696, it began building a fort around the settlement. 2 years later, it bribed Mughal officials into giving the company Jamidari rights over three villages. Now, 2 years later means 1698. The I mean uh, they gave some kind of bribe, some sort of bribe to Mughal officers to provide the Jamidari of three villages, Jamidari rights of three villages to the company officials. Okay, and now there is coming a word that is called Jamidari. Underline it. Jamidari. What do you mean by Jamidari? Jamidari is again a landlord. You know, landlord, master of a huge part of land is called landlord. Then in Hindi, or in I mean Bengal, the system for collecting the revenue was called Jamidari system. The system adopted by these landlords to collect revenue from the poor peasants was called Jamidari system. Okay. 2 years later, it bribed Mughal officials into giving the company Jamidari rights over three villages only. One of three villages was Kalikata, which later grew into the city name Calcutta or Kolkata as it is known today. It is also persuaded the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb to issue a farman granting the company the right to trade due free. Now, this that is a little bit another aspect that the Jamidari rights of three villages were asked by British officials to Mughal officials, and British officers gave some sort of bribe to Mughal officer also, and they were finally able to get the Jamidari rights over there. And these three villages were Sutinata, Kalikata, and Govindpur. Okay, these three villages were these. So what happened? But with the passage of time, what do you find it? That Kalikata became very much important, very much historical, and on the background of these three villages, a famous city was discovered. Was developed at that time, and this city was named as, later on it became Calcutta, and right now it is called Kolkata. Along with that, a farman was also issued, okay, granting the companies into the right trade duty free. Now the great Mughal emperor named Aurangzeb, he issued one farman also. Farman, soon I will tell what do you mean by farman. But he issued a farman to Britishers, to British East India Company, that granting him the permission of conducting trade and commerce in all over Bengal, all over states. Uh, uh, I mean, uh, okay, sorry. And what I want to say, that Aurangzeb given a farman that you can conduct the trade and commerce not only in Bengal but other parts of Bengal also. But it was mainly concerned with Bengal, as whole East Indian Company was activities were being held over there. So he provided a farman to whom? To British officers, to the officers of East India Company, that you may conduct trade and commerce here, and no money will be taken from you, no fees will be taken from you. Okay? So this became very much important again. On the very right side, the meaning of farman has also been written down. So what do you mean by farman? A royal edict, okay? A royal edict or a royal order. A royal edict or a royal order is called farman. So who issued that farman? Aurangzeb issued that farman, okay, in the favor of Mughal, in the favor of British company persons. Now we come to forward. Uh, what happened to it? Okay, so we were studying about Farman, we have finished it. The further part, the company tried continuously to press for more concessions and manipulate existing privileges. Okay, now what was the demand of company? The company tried continuously to press. I mean, the more company, the more benefits, the more, I mean, concession company was getting, the more it was demanding. The company tried continuously to press more concession and manipulate existing privileges. Okay, Aurangzeb's Farman, for instance, had granted only the company the right to trade duty free. But actually, what did Aurangzeb do? Aurangzeb only gave a farman, and according to that farman, they can only do their work without without paying any fee to state or Mughal Empire. Okay, this was only permission. Company, for instance, had granted only the company the right to trade duty free, but officials of the company who were carrying on private trade on the other side were expected to pay duty. Now, what happened? I mean, suppose that Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb has given this farman only for the East Indian companies, but the great officers, I mean, the most senior officer of East India Company, they used to carry their own personal trade and commerce also. I mean, their personal trade and commerce, their personal factory used to be, their personal law, I mean, raw material used to be. And but this official, I mean, farman given by Aurangzeb was only applicable on employee of, I mean, this one, government sector or company sector. But if the same employee is doing some private practice in his or her residence, then that person was not given the benefit of not paying the tax. Okay, in a very simple word, we can calculate that if you are coming from a royal family, if you are, sorry, if you are coming from officer's family of East India Company, and even then you are carrying your private business with you, then it was supposed that you will pay no tax on company business, but for the private purpose business you'll have to pay the same amount of tax that was demanded for you people. Okay, so that was called farman. The company tried continuously to press more concessions and manipulate existing privileges. Aurangzeb farmans, for instance, has granted only the company the right to trade duty free, but officials of the company who are carrying on private trade and commerce trade to pay, causing an enormous loss of revenue in Bengal. Okay, now could the Nawab of Bengal Murshid Quli Khan not protest? Underline who was the Nawab of Bengal at that time? Murshid Quli Khan was the Nawab of Bengal at that time. So I mean, this they refused to pay. Now when the I mean duty or the tax was asked from them on their private trade and commerce, then they saw the same farman, and they did try to avoid, they did always they tried to not to pay the tax. To whom? To these people, to, I mean, the officers of Mughal Empire. Okay, then this they refused to pay, causing enormous loss of revenue for Bengal. And what kind of reason they used to say that, sir, through jamidari system we won't able to get a lot of profit over there. So I did not able to understand. Okay, so they used to tell what the reason, that they are having a great, I mean, a huge loss from here, from I mean, from the revenue of Bengal. So that is why they could not pay any amount to neither to Murshid Quli Khan, the Nawab of Bengal, nor to Mughal Empire. Now on the very below side you will see, what can you see? You can see the beautiful picture of Hooghly River and Kolkata. Okay, Kolkata, and at that time, 1867. Okay. Now underline, local boats bring goods from ships in Madras, painted by William Simpson, 1837, 1867, sorry. This is a painting of 1867. You can easily find that from local boats bring goods from a ship in Madras. I mean, a ship has come, and what is the role of these local boats? these local boats used to carry some goods from ships. That ship has come from Chennai, and they used to carry that good to the Bengal. Okay, so this is the picture of Hooghly River and Fort William also, and other other, I mean, important things are also located over there. And this is the picture of Kolkata of the year 1867. This is a picture of Kolkata of the year 1867. Okay, so that is, I think, sufficient for today. What is your homework? You have not yet submitted your first chapter notes, history one. Then please complete it and submit it. Your history first chapter notes, please complete it and submit it to me. This is your homework. Okay, history first chapter notes, please complete it and submit it. That is your homework for today. Keep this thing on. Stay safe and healthy. Stay at your residence. Be healthy and happy. Thank you. We will meet in next class. Thanks for joining me. Okay.